Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Seeley back with another video game design challenge project video. This one's about Piskel. The last one he did was also about Piskel, but we are going to be very briefly reviewing content from last time and then talking about what we're doing today. So again, to review, last time we looked at all of these different tools here on the left far toolbar. It was your job to use those on the canvas here. And then you were to save your progress, take a photo of your work, and then upload it to the Google form to track your progress. What I'll be doing this time is showing you the tools on the far right toolbar here. So let's get into it. So first, layers. Layering, think of as transparencies, things that are in front or behind each other. So if I click on layer 1, what is on layer 1 is this black square here. Although you can see slightly the red square here, the black square is right here. Then if I click layer 2, I can see that the red square is actually on top of the black square. That the black square is still shaded, or lighter, but that's just showing me that's behind. So think of layers as transparencies, things stacked on top of each other. Why would you layer things? Well, it allows you to independently move the circle and independently move the square. And if you're working with things that are a lot of detail, you probably want to separate those by layer. A couple things about layers. If you want to add a layer, just click the plus button, that'll add a layer. If you want to move layers up and down, for example, I can move this square now in front of my circle, or I can move it back down. That's how you move things in front or down. You can edit this. So let's say you want to change that to like black square, whatever detail it is, you can certainly do that. If you want to delete a layer, click here. If you want to merge things down, let's say you have it exactly where you want to merge it down, click the merge with layer below, and now they become one. But usually you don't want to do that because then you can't independently move and select things. All right, moving along down here to the flip vertically tool. This allows you to flip whatever is on this layer on the other side of the radius. So if this was all the way to the right here, it'll flip this line of symmetry so it's on that side. So a quick little tool. If you're trying to rotate something, it's kind of hard to show rotations here, so let's add some detail to it so you can quickly kind of see what I'm talking about. So let's say you wanted to show this was rotating. Okay, so that's how you can show things are rotating. If you want to clone a frame, that's here, and this is going to allow your image to align right in the center. So this is actually more helpful when you're clicking this and then doing this, then it can kind of rotate a little bit more realistically. And then here are all your different colors that you have been using throughout your project. I've only used 2 so far, but if I use 200, they would all appear here. And that's like a quick, easy way of finding colors you've used instead of trying to find it this way, because that'd be a big headache to try to find those colors again that way. Over here into some preferences here. These preferences here you can leave about the same. This layer opacity just allows you to see things on another layer. So maybe you don't want to see it at all. Maybe you want to see it as if it was the end result. I like to leave it a little faded so you can tell that. And the rest of this you really don't have to worry about changing at all. Yeah, don't worry about any of this these settings here. Let's go down to the next thing, which is the resize tool. The default setting is 32 by 32. If you want to go more detailed, you can, but I would really advise against it unless you want a lot more detail, which means a lot more work. If you want to do that, you can. I would just double it. So for example, 64, and it'll automatically jump the width to the height. If you don't want that to maintain, you can change that independently, but then it's going to stretch out your canvas. So let me show you the 2 examples of what I mean. If I hit resize here, notice how that all got smaller. It's because I increased the size of this canvas by 2. Now let's say I want to do my other feature where I said I want this to be independent, 32. Now I made it long and skinny. And you can see that I cut that off, and if I pull that over, I've lost that. So I'd really recommend you be careful when you're changing that resize tool. This allows you to kind of change where things are resizing. So you can play around with that. Usually I click the top, or excuse me, the middle. That helps it to be a little bit more realistic. And you can play around with the resize the content as well. So let's undo what I just did here. Okay, and show you what I mean by that. Resize canvas content will enlarge everything with it. So let's say I want to make this 60. Oh, let's say I want to make this 64. I want to make this 64. So I'm doubling it. It doesn't appear like anything changed, but this just doubled with it. Now you say, well, what would be the purpose of that? Well, the purpose is now you have more detail. So look at the details in this line here. That is a lot skinnier and a lot more detailed of a clean line than I could have got with that. Now, again, if you go really, really small with that, there's a lot more detail that you're going to need to worry about. Saving. Whenever you are working on your project, you've got to save. It's not like Drive where it automatically saves. You have to save your work. You always want to save to your gallery. If you click Save to your gallery, it automatically does that once that Pac-Man symbol is done. And then if you go to My Gallery, you'll see all the different things that you've been working on throughout your career of having this Piskel form. So here's all of my different Piskel animations that I've worked on over the years and over time. So that's where your thing will be saved. Now, you can save it also to your browser, but I would never, I don't know why you would do that. Don't do that. You can also save it offline, which means you can like save it as a file type. So then it'll appear in your save. The only benefit of that would be then to put it in your drive, but I don't know why you would do that at this point. So it's right here. So just save it to your gallery. So keep that in mind. Here's some exporting things. We'll go over this when you're done, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to create a looping GIF. A GIF is an animation that continues to repeat itself. So we'll work on that more later, but again, you're going to export that as a GIF. And if you want to import something, that's how you're going to be kind of combining multiple things there that you've created. So again, you're not going to be finding things on the internet and importing them in. We're creating original content, but you'll use this later on for your project. So that was pretty much it on the right toolbar here. Oh, final thing I forgot. Your frames per second. Well, let's get into, sorry, we got a little bit more to do here. Forgot. So let's talk a little bit about the work that you're going to be doing. So here's the artwork that I've made. It's right here. It's still. We want to create an animation. An animation is when you have multiple things, multiple still images that appear to move. So over here is your frames. You can add a new frame and you can recreate something. And the reason this is flickering right now is because it's flashing between my image and my blank one here. So usually what you want to do is duplicate it. Right here is duplicate. And now I have the same thing duplicated. Now it's not appearing to move yet, but if you grab this hand and move it down, you can see that it's flicking between the first frame and the second frame, going up and down. If I want that to be a little bit smoother, I can duplicate that again, maybe move that up one or two, so it's just a little bit more smooth. Now let's say that's going way too fast. You can slow it down by dragging it this way, but then it appears a little choppy. You can go like this, looks like it's having a seizure, which maybe you want, maybe you don't. So here is where you can kind of play around with your different frames. Again, you can add a blank frame, you can delete a frame, or you can move one of these things above or below. So today's goal is to use all these features here and try to create a very simple, a very basic animation. Now, when you upload this screenshot for evidence of your progress today, I obviously won't see the animation, but I'll just see that you attempted to create an animation with the multiple frames here. So explore things on the right side, document your work, and as always, upload that to your Google Drive. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me or drop in on my office hours daily, 1 to 2 p.m. I hope that was helpful. Do your best quality work. And as always, guys, be creative.